Hello and welcome back to this course of videos on MongoDB. In this video we will continue to look at the find method which retrieves documents from our collection. However, we will be using more advanced queries. So up until now we've been querying where the value of the key value pair is always a primitive type. So for example, where last name is Murphy or age is 43. Now, strings and integers are primitive types, but what if we want to query based on a more advanced data type like an array? So this is a basic array with holding two strings. This is a more complex array which actually holds separate embedded objects. So let's look at the first scenario first of all. Let's say I'm looking at my third document here. Let's say I want to return any documents that have an email address of barak@gmail.com. So I'm going to take my email address as the key of my key value pair, and this is actually relatively simple. So if I just take this email address here and then I put it in as my value for my key value pair, Mongo is actually quite forgiving. If I run this, it will return this particular record that contained this email address. So what Mongo's done is I've only passed it one particular string, and Mongo has seen that this is an array with multiple values, and Mongo is actually saying, okay, it's going to look at each value within the array, and if either of these values, these strings, match what I've passed, then it will return the document. Even though the value of my key value pair is a string and the actual value of the key value pair in the document is an array, it will look within that array with no extra syntax. So it's just standard syntax, but it will actually search for the value within this array. However, when we are looking at embedded objects, objects embedded within an array, it becomes slightly more complex. So if I look at my documents here, this is my first document, I have an orders field. This field has an array, and within that array it has these embedded objects with multiple fields in there. So let's say, for example, I wanted to retrieve all of the documents, so all of the customers who had placed orders with a quantity of 2, for example. So we can see this first document, it did one of its 2 orders was for a quantity of 2. This second document, Marcy Saxon, only had 1 order and it was a quantity of 1. My third customer, Barack Obama, had 2 orders and one of them was with a quantity of 2. So I want to see the customers, the documents that have orders with a quantity of 2. So in order to do this, so first of all, I'm going to take my field name, which is orders. Now I have to actually drill into my orders field to this within this array and let Mongo know which subfield within this array I want to look at. I want to look at quantity. So I'm going to say orders dot quantity here, and I'm going to say I want the quantity within orders to be 2. Now I'll just show you something now. This will actually fail, and I'll explain why after. So I'll run this. Now, if you remember up till now, Mongo has been very forgiving, and we don't have to put quotations around the key of our key value pair because they will be assumed. When you're actually drilling in and using dot notation to drill into objects embedded within arrays, you have to put the quotations around there. So you see if I run it now, it does actually retrieve my James Murphy document where I do one of my 2 orders has a quantity of 2, and also my Barack Obama document customer, which also has an order with a quantity of 2. So this is how you actually can query based on where you can query where the value of the key value pair contains an array with embedded objects within, and you can actually drill down and say within this array I want to look at each object in the array, and I want to look at this particular field, quantities. I want to look at the quantity field in every embedded object within the array of the orders field. So I hope that's clear. We don't need to look at the MySQL side because, as we mentioned previously, on the MySQL side, on the relational side, we do not embed arrays and objects in this manner in order to make sure that the database is normalized. These things like orders would be a separate table in a MySQL database. So I hope that was informative, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.